The episode opens up in 1932 in a Romanian village, where little Setrakian asks his grandmother to tell him a tale. She agrees and starts the story of many years ago, where a benevolent Polish nobleman, Józef Sardu, suffered from gigantism and walked with a sword cane with a white gold handle and silver blade. Knowing that he was going to die soon, Sardu was kind to everyone, especially children. However, his brother, Barban, was ashamed of Sardu's condition and organized a hunting expedition to find the great gray wolf and make Sardu drink its blood to cure his ailment. As their hunting party ventured into the woods, it led them not to the great gray wolf but to the master, the ancient vampire in its original form. It was a pale, paper-skinned ancient beast with spindly fingers and a gnarly waddle. Since the ancient master's body was frail, he attacked Sardu and transferred his consciousness and soul into Sardu's body via a flood of worm vomit into his mouth. So the master, who once had an ancient form, now resided inside Sardu's body. Saying this much, Setrakian's grandmother warns him to stop the evil, which has many forms. In the present, Setrakian returns to Tribeca while carrying Sardu's cane, and inspects the scene of his failed effort to kill the master. He reflects on the error and judgment that prevented him from claiming the triumph. As Setrakian walks through the master's underground passage, he discovers right away that he is being followed. Surprisingly, it is not the master but the lead paratrooper vampire, who finally names himself as Vaughn. Then, he slips a cover over Setrakian's head and abducts him. At the Ancients' headquarters, Setrakian meets Gus, who is now associated with Vaughn and the Ancients. Vaughn says he speaks for the Ancients and reveals that they want to make an alliance with Setrakian to locate the Master, the seventh of their kind, and kill him. When Setrakian talks about finding the ancient book, Occido Lumen, that has the key to kill the Master, the Ancients spare Setrakian with a deal that he will alert the Ancients when he finds the Master. Elsewhere, the Master asks Icorst to tell Bolivar to reclaim his soil and bring some children, as his body is badly hurt and is dying. The Master wants revenge. Later, we see Icorst meeting with Aldrich Palmer, who is desperate to meet the Master. Meanwhile, Coco Marchand, a broker, arrives to talk with Eldritch over a property sale. Eldritch is acquiring an old cleaning factory with drains that can handle large amounts of liquid waste for the Master. As expected, Coco and Eldritch get along pretty well. Later, Eldritch, who seems fond of Coco, offers her a job to work for him for triple her past salary. In the next scene, Setrakian arrives at Vasily's place, and he keeps the Ancient's secret to himself in order to retrieve some of his extra weapons for emergency from his storage locker. Setrakian asks Vasily's help. Meanwhile, Zach, who is frustrated with the ongoing situation, argues with Ephraim to either let him go back to his mother or find a cure to save her. Next, we see a blind school who have decided to relocate their school out of the city to a safer location with the help of the Stoneheart group. However, it's a trap, and Icorst makes his men bring the kids along with some teachers to his place as commanded by the Master. Following this, Icorst wakes Kelly up from the group of nesting vampires, claiming that the Master has chosen her as a special one and has given her the power of her own thought and voice. Suddenly, her eyes turn red and she gets back her voice. Her first word is none other than Zach. Back at Vasily's place, F and Nora discuss finding a weak link in the vampire biology since vaccines are impossible to turn them back into humans. After a while, they come to a conclusion to infect the carriers with a different disease and break the chain. Meanwhile, Setrakian arrives and asks them to join him to the storage facility to get the extra weapons. Later, while searching for Setrakian's storage unit, they find a couple hiding in one of the units from the vampires. While Nora talks with the couple, Setrakian, Vasily, and Ephraim go to Setrakian's storage unit to pick up the silver weapons and some old notes Setrakian used during his research days. Suddenly, the power is down and a bunch of vampires arrive in the dark. Setrakian and his group are able to kill the vampires. However, the couple is infected as the worms crawl all over their body. When Vasily is about to shoot them, Ephraim stops him, saying they will be of need for them to do research on the cure. In the following scene, Icorst takes Vampire Kelly to a different room which has a pile of soil on the ground. Since the Master has chosen her, Icorst explains that she has an important role to play in the Master's great vision. Meanwhile, he introduces Vampire Kelly to the Feelers, the blind children turned into vampires by Icorst, and considers them as Kelly's new family. Moreover, Icorst explains that the Feelers are different as they have sight and perception beyond the visible spectrum. Saying this much, he asks Kelly to behold the Feelers, the children of the night. Slowly, the creepy children rise up from the Master's soil and crawl toward their new mother figure. Later, Icorst and Bolivar discuss the Master's transformation into a new body as his successor. Icorst explains that once the Master transfers into a new body, all must serve his new form with faith and loyalty. While Bolivar tries to touch the master's new coffin, Eichhorst stops him and lies down inside the coffin. Meanwhile, Kelly communicates with her new children, the Feelers, and investigates each of them. Elsewhere, inside the laboratory, Ephraim and Nora tell the infected couple from the storage unit about their transformation that will happen soon. Ephraim asks them to volunteer as test subjects in order to find a cure of vampirism. Initially, the couple is reluctant, however they comply after learning that the research might help save a lot of people. Back at Vasily's place, Setrakian goes through his old notes, desperately looking for a clue to lead him to the ancient book, Occido Lumen, that has information on how to kill the master. In a flashback of 1965, Setrakian is an instructor at the University of Vienna, teaching a class about the history of vampires. Meanwhile, a young Eldritch Palmer arrives at the university and tells Setrakian he knows the truth about vampires, along with Setrakian's goal to prove their existence. He informs Setrakian about Sardou's cane being recovered and taken to Vienna, and asks him to find it. Since Setrakian himself was looking after the master, he accepts the offer in finding the cane. Back in the present, Coco Marchand arrives at Palmer's office and tells him that she accepts the job and is willing to work for him. As Palmer explains about his food distribution centers all over the city, he asks Coco to write an opening speech for him. Meanwhile, Vasily and Dutch team up to fight the vampires in a facility nearby, planning to kill them block by block. Using the silver grenades they had retrieved from Setrakian's storage locker, they succeed in blowing up a bunch of vampires. Back at Vasily's house, Nora asks Setrakian if the master will be able to read the minds of the infected couple and locate them once they turn, leading him to Setrakian and the group. However, Setrakian explains that since the couple is not aware about where they are, the master can't find them. In a flashback, Setrakian goes to a pawn shop in search of Sardou's cane. When he asks the owner for artifacts from the war, he is led to a concealed area of Nazi objects and finds Sardou's cane. However, the owner says that the cane has already been bought and that he will not turn down that deal, as he claims himself as a man of honor. Hearing this, Setrakian berates the owner, revealing him as Dr. Dreverhaven, a Nazi doctor who experimented on the prisoners at the concentration camps. Frightened, Dreverhaven runs while being chased by Setrakian. During the escape, Dreverhaven stumbles and drops the cane in the ground and flees. As a result, Setrakian picks the cane and takes it with him. Later in the flashback, Setrakian delivers the cane to Eldritch Palmer, who is impressed with Setrakian. Moreover, he asks Setrakian to find the Occido Lumen, an ancient book about nature and origin of the ancient master, and a way to his destruction. In return, Palmer offers a large sum of money and a full-time professor job at the university. Meanwhile, at the laboratory, Ephraim and Nora continue to struggle to find the right pathogen to infect and break the vampire's chain, keeping their human hosts alive. Eventually, they realize that the disease strains that they have been working with have failed. Soon they come up with a plan to infect their test subject vampires with a new disease strain that absorbs the amino acid from them. In the following scene, Eldritch Palmer gives an inspiring speech written by Coco to a crowd of people at a food distribution center. As Palmer is applauded and appreciated by the others, suddenly, he finds himself face to face with Setrakian after many years. While Palmer threatens Setrakian that the master will soon dispatch him, Setrakian counters back, explaining he is close to finding the Occido Lumen. This scares Palmer, but before he is able to take any action against Setrakian, Vasily sets up a time bomb, and it blows up, creating chaos all over. Taking this opportunity, Setrakian and Vasily escape. Again, back to the flashback, Dreverhaven returns to his shop and finds Eichhorst, who was there to buy the cane. When Dreverhaven explains about his fear of being exposed by Setrakian, he pleads with Eichhorst to help him. Hence, Eichhorst offers him to serve the new Führer. Without any hesitation, the doctor accepts the offer. Soon, Eichhorst swiftly releases his vampire tentacle and attacks him, turning him into a vampire. In the present, Ephraim and Nora begin to test the strain that absorbs amino acid from the couple's body, who have now completely turned into vampires. Following this, we are taken to Kelly's house, where she introduces the Feelers to a coat that belonged to Zach, telling them to go find him. Elsewhere, Bolivar drags baggage through Manhattan Alley, where he is stopped by two cops, who open his bag to find a pile of soil. Bolivar asks the cop to not touch the soil, calling it the master's resting ground. However, the cop picks a handful of soil and observes the worms that crawl into his body. Just then, other nearby vampires arrive there and attack the cops, allowing Bolivar to escape. In the following scene, Ephraim and Nora are disappointed that their current efforts to kill the vampire strain failed, as it also killed the host body. Elsewhere, Zach tries to escape on a bus and go back to his home in order to find Kelly. In the meantime, Ephraim arrives with Vasily and Dutch and stops Zach. While Ephraim takes Zach back to their residence, Dutch notices a missing flyer of her friend, Nikki. Following this, Setrakian experiments with the vampire's white blood and the worms that he bottled after taking out a random vampire in town. Ultimately, he makes a liquid out of them and drops into his own eye with an eyedropper. Later, Nora finds him unconscious on the floor with bleeding eyes and resuscitates him, even though Nora insists and asks Setrakian about his condition. He refuses to admit putting anything in the eyes. At the Ancients' headquarters, Vaughn instructs Gus about hand-to-hand combat with vampires by grabbing their tentacles and pulling it out entirely, killing them. Furthermore, Vaughn explains about their next mission to kidnap Eldritch Palmer. Elsewhere, Fitzwilliam enters Staten Island, which is on an extreme lockdown, making it difficult for him to visit his brother who lives there. Despite all this, he eventually makes it. Surprised to see Fitzwilliam, his brother invites him in and becomes even happier when he learns that Fitzwilliam no longer works for Palmer. Meanwhile, the mayor of New York City, George Lyle, holds an announcement nearby on Staten Island, introducing Councilwoman Justine Feraldo. She declares Staten Island is plague-free and presents multiple beheaded vampires hanged in a display. She then motivates the public and encourages them to have faith and courage. Seeing applause and support from the public, Feraldo and Lyle make plans to repeat the same thing citywide. In the following scene, Eichhorst and Bolivar arrive at the Stoneheart group. Since the Master is displeased about Setrakian approaching Eldritch Palmer, he has commanded Bolivar to keep an eye on Palmer. Listening to their talks, Coco confesses to Palmer that she thinks they are not good men. Surprisingly, Palmer asks her to stay out of it for her own safety. Later, Ephraim takes Zach to the laboratory to show him the vampire subjects and make him realize his mother, Kelly, is also one of them now. Since Zach is being grumpy and has attempted to leave alone on a bus to search for his mother, Ephraim shows him the reality. The next day, Nora requests Setrakian to tell what happened to him last night. Eventually, Setrakian confesses that he consumed the worms to prolong his life, as he is already 94 years old. Although the worms can't be directly ingested, they can be absorbed through the eyes, which makes the person healthier. Since Setrakian's sole mission in life is to kill the Master, he refuses to die from old age or any health issues before completing the mission. Saying this much, he asks Nora to keep the revelation a secret, to which she agrees. In the meantime, Dutch and Vasily go to Nikki's mother's house to find out about Nikki. However, Nikki's mother has no updates on her daughter, and she's mad to see Dutch, who she believes corrupted her daughter and eventually caused her death. As a result, Dutch returns to the truck and cries, believing Nikki's mother is correct. Back at the laboratory, Ephraim realizes the vampire subject is staring at Zach and talks to the Master, since the latter can see through his human servants. Because the Master took Kelly away, Ephraim threatens to take down thousands of his vampires and eventually find and kill him. Additionally, Ephraim claims he will rather kill Zach and himself to prevent themselves from getting turned. In the next scene, Gus enters the Stoneheart building as an elevator inspector, distracting the guard and allowing Vaughn and his associate vampires to follow him inside. While Gus and the security guard ride the elevator up, the vampires grip onto the bottom of the elevator and climb up. Meanwhile, other security workers notice Gus and the vampires approaching Palmer's office. This forces Eldritch Palmer and Coco to move into a safe secret room. From the secret room, Palmer inputs a code that disperses UV lights from the ceiling at his office. Immediately, the lights burn the good vampires. They try to find a way, but just then, the floor collapses, burning them all as they lie under the lights. Vaughn, who is on the verge of dying, asks Gus to run, which he manages to do. Back at Vasily's place, Setrakian is in a fantastic mood as he eats his pasta and wine. When Dutch asks if he looks different, Setrakian explains that he has gotten his second wind. At the end, Ephraim and Nora think they have succeeded in infecting the vampire subject with their newly created strain. The only thing left is to release their vampire subject. To see if it worked, subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel grow. Don't forget to watch part 6. Thanks for watching.